So you had so much experience with Franchise Fastlane and your own personal experience. I've been around for a long time. I've been in franchising for more than 30 years. I think I'm pretty good at picking out companies that are going to do well, but I make mistakes. What are some of the surprises? I get how to phrase this. Did you not see it coming? Or some of the surprises where the founder just flips out and is really any clues that were there along the way, or were they kind of sneak attacks where suddenly the wheels started to fall off?
Yeah, I've had a couple in my career, and some of
Hmm.
them you kind of saw the writing on the wall, and you just didn't have the experience to recognize it. Of things of, again, like I mentioned, egos. Egos are one of the biggest issues I've seen with founders. Or, uh, you know, we set expectations. The first rule of franchising with Front Street Equity Partners, the first rule of franchising: don't franchise your business. That's literally what we tell people, because this is not a get rich quick scheme for franchisors. You're going to put in hours and time and blood, sweat, and tears before you even in the black. It's going to take a while to get to that point. So our big thing is, hey, we really want to make sure that the franchisor knows what they're getting themselves into. Do they have the infrastructure? Are they willing to invest? Some brands they don't want to spend money, and that's okay, but you shouldn't franchise. So
Yeah.
I think there are some things where we saw a founder that maybe wasn't listening, or again, we're advisors at the end of the day. We don't have voting shares or anything like that. We're advisors. You can lead a horse to water, just like franchisors can provide all the tools and resources for franchisees. The execution is the most important part. So we've had surprises with a bad franchisor, maybe an industry that wasn't fully vetted, that looked great on paper, but then you
Yeah.
get into it and it's like, oh, well, actually, this is a lot harder. And every county or city might have different laws or regulations around something that no franchisor can ever know. But as you dig deeper into those, it becomes more nuanced and more complex. So we try to avoid those complex businesses that have some of those, but there are still some really great brands that require a contractor's license or a brick
Yeah.
and mortar or something that is a more challenging obstacle for some people. But it depends on how you approach it.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, in the end, the franchisee owns what they bought. The buck stops with you. I hold up my little silver bullet every day. I am the silver bullet. I got to figure out what that answer is, because I'm the franchisee. So the reality for those of you who are listening is the franchisors, a development group, an incubator like Front Street Partners, amazing depth of history and experience in the world. Um, but what should a franchisee do, Bobby, is what you and I talk a lot about. You've got to do your research. You, the listener, you still have to do the research. So how, Bobby, have you refined your process over the duration of years that you've been in franchising as you're working with candidates and doing their validation?
Yeah, so the first thing is, I try to scare people off. And I say that somewhat jokingly. My title, I tell myself, is I'm the world's worst closer. Because for most of our brands, they're emerging. They're young. We need pioneers. And so for your listeners, they've got to kind of see, the bell curve. Am I an early adopter and a pioneer? Or am I a late majority? Am I the person that's like, oh, I want crumble. But somebody had to be the first crumble franchisee, or somebody had to be the first Orange Theory or McDonald's, whatever it may be. Knowing yourself and knowing where you fall in that bell curve is really important. But knowing that, and then when you go through the process, like validate, 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 not only with the franchisor, but the franchisee. Because to your point, the way I look at it is you've got the franchise group I was a part of. We acquired 35 of the locations. We didn't buy the license for those. We acquired them from other owners. There was nothing wrong with the space, the lease, the product, the marketing. We would go in and sometimes we would double the revenue in 1 month. What was different was that the operator, the execution at the local level. We had these people that thought, oh, it's a residual thing. I'm going to put a high school or college student, in place. They're going to run this nutrition shop for us, and I'm going to make 150 grand a year. I wish it was that easy. And they were sorely disappointed when they realized you still have to be engaged in your business. You have to
Yep.
manage it.